Good morning, good morning. Welcome to Center for Spiritual Living, Cape Coral. And welcome to our meditation portion. Our clicker is not working this morning, though. So welcome to our Sunday celebration where we are celebrating your spiritual magnificence. Our vision is to create a world that works for everyone. Our mission, to provide spiritual tools for transformation, and our purpose is to quicken humanity to its spiritual magnificence. Wherever you are on your spiritual path, you are so very welcome here. We believe that we are co-creators with the divine and that you can change your entire life by how? Changing your mind, yes. Ernest Holmes is the founder of our philosophy, and we teach universal truths that are found in all spiritual teachings, both traditional and contemporary. The Bible, to Deepak Chopra and Eckhart Tolle, and all the contemporary and traditional teachings. So please visit our website at cslcapecoral.org for prayer requests and use the Contact Us tab so we can send you more information about us and so we can connect with you. And as I mentioned, this is our meditation portion. And today it is lovingly, amazingly facilitated by our one and only Melissa Davies. So please welcome her and enjoy your meditation.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm thankful you're all here. My name is Malika Devi. I am one of the licensed practitioner at the Spiritual Home. I call it my Spiritual Home, Center for Spiritual Living, Cape Coral. And if you feel comfortable, find a comfortable seat and get settled in. And I invite you to gently close your eyes if you feel comfortable. Or you could gaze your vision downwards. And today's meditation is coming from the website that I selected from Unified Cosmos. And it is about visioning. Our center is visioning on weekly basis. So I thought this would be a perfect meditation. So take a deep breath. And imagine yourself, you're walking into the nature. You are walking and walking. Feel the nature all around you. Visualize a green meadow. Of the greenest color that you like the most. Visualize an extension of green grass. That extends to the nearby forest. You see the green grass, the green grass reflection of the sun on the meadow. Extend the look forward towards the forest and see the leaves of all possible green tones. It's relaxing, very relaxing. The sun is reflecting on the green leaves of the trees. And a myriad of delicate shades of green are forming before your eyes. Echoing each other, creating a green, three-dimensional space. It's beautiful, and enjoy it. Your breath is calmingly pure air, full of oxygen produced by the trees of the forest. You find yourself breathing a green, refreshing air. With each breath, you relax more and more. You listen to the sound of nature. A sound passing between the leaves and the trees. It's relaxing, very relaxing. You hear the sound of wind in the leaves and relax more and more. You stop for a moment, observing the meadow, the old century trees, and their beautiful leaves. Now you hear the sound while walking. You hear it closer and closer. It's calming, relaxing. It's water. It's a canal that's passing in front of you. Be aware of your rhythm, of the flowing water. The water is crystal clear. It flows over and over again. You walk by the river, following its natural flow. Observe the canal, barges flowing and passing by. They soothe your soul as you imagine these are your worries, your fears, but they are going away. Feel how you enter the river but you do not swim. You immerse yourself in it and let your body float without making any movement. Let the river carry you in your imagination. Feel how the river is modifying its flow. And increase and decrease its intensity. Be still. Although the river rhythm changes. Feel your breath. Try to keep it deep. Imagine the river flows faster and faster. Stay like this for a few minutes. Slowly recovering the consciousness of your body. Sit up slowly. Now you know what you feel like to float and flow in the river of life. Take this feeling to all your day's action and thoughts. Now you see a beach on the horizon. And you walk to get there. You follow the steam and its flow. Visualize a small beach nearby the canal. Blue sea. The golden sand. You lie on the sand and it is delightful. The energy of the sun accumulated in the grain of sand penetrates your back, relaxing you. Feel the accumulated heat, how it spreads in your back. It's relaxing, it's very nice, it's delicious sensation. The blue sky, the blue sea without clouds. You hear the sound of the wind on the leaves of the trees behind you. The sun strikes your arms. You feel the warmth. The sun warms your chest and legs. Your legs, they sink heavily in the sand. You hear the rhythm of balanced sound of waves that seem to rock in the calm blue sky, under the precious sky. You hear the sound of the wind. You hear the canal water becoming one with the sea. Listening to its flow, its energy expanding and expanding. You're becoming aware of your body, your mind, resting relaxed, more relaxed. Now you're ready to seal your practice with a gentle now. When you feel comfortable, gently bring your awareness back into this room. When you feel comfortable, open your eyes. Namaste.
Thank you, Malika. We can just stay there, right? So welcome everyone to our Sunday service celebration. And please, let's give a big round of welcoming applause for our amazing one and only Big Love Band.
Good morning. Well, we've got some very familiar songs this morning. So everyone stand and sing with us today and get our energy flowing after that amazing meditation.
And the world will be a better place
So I do have a little story. This morning, Jeremy and I were getting our caffeine fix, Dunkin' Donuts, and they were doing a pay it forward. There was like 6 people going through doing pay it forward, and it was so fun because the person in the window, the employee, was feeling it as well. So it was funny because we're going through and they're like, they're so kind. And it's like, well, yeah, our religion is kindness, right? So we started hopping to this song in the car. It's kind of funny. My religion is kindness. My church is nature. My God is a feeling. Lives deep inside. My job is to be conscious. My path is forgiveness. My religion is kindness, and I practice it every day. Everyone has a story. Everyone has pain. When we strip away our masks, we find we're really all the same. These little things we say and do that can mean so much. It's a smile, a connection, a simple loving touch. My religion is kindness. My church is nature. My God is a feeling. It lives deep inside. My job is to be conscious. My path is forgiveness. My religion is kindness, and I practice it every day. Today I'm gonna ask myself, what more can I do to be a radiant child of God? Let my love shine through. I'm gonna let my heart be my guide to give the best of me. I'm gonna share my joy, share my love, give it boundlessly. My religion is kindness. My church is nature. My God is a feeling. It lives deep inside. My job is to be conscious. My path is forgiveness. My religion is kindness, and I practice it every day. Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. But then Jack fell down and broke his crown, but Jill came running after. He said, Jack, tell me, what can I do to help me ease your mind? He said, hold my hand and just be kind. I know I'll be fine. It's kindness. My church is nature. My God is a feeling. It lives deep inside. My job is to be conscious. My path is forgiveness. My religion is kindness, and I practice it every day. Every day. My religion is kindness, and I practice it every day.
Oh my. We are awake now. Oh, okay. So I'm glad everybody's staying standing because we remember, right? This is a time for our blessing. So I ask you to repeat with me. Welcome to Center for Spiritual Living. We know who you truly are. You are the spiritual image and likeness of God. We appreciate you, we love you, and we are thankful you are here. Welcome to the center. Woo!
Shine a light in every corner of my heart. Let the love light carry, let the love light carry. Light up the magic in every little part. Let our love shine a light in every corner of our hearts. Love, shine a light in every corner of my dream. Let the love light carry, let the love light carry. Like the mighty river flowing from the stream. Let our love shine a light in every corner of our dreams. And we're all shine a light in every corner of our hearts. Let our love shine a light in every corner of our hearts.
Wow. I have to follow that now. Can you all hear me? And those of you who don't know, that's my daughter. I am so proud of her. Thank you. She shines the light for sure. Okay. Good morning again, everyone. My name is Malika Devi. I am a licensed practitioner at this spiritual home, Center for Spiritual Living at Cape Coral. And I am so grateful you all decided to join us in person, and those of you online. And today's reading, I'm going to start with it's coming from the Science of Mind. Let me do this. Science of Mind magazine, our Science of Mind textbook. This is what we read here. If you don't have one, you should pick one up at our bookstore. And the reading is coming from page 52. So the quote from that page is, "Hence it follows that if we believe it will not work, it really works by appearing it not work. When we believe it that it cannot and will not, then according to the principle, it does not. But when it does not, it still does. Only it does according to our belief that it will not." So from that quote, I selected the same page, 52. There is no doubt about immutability of the availability of the law. The law is infinite. This is the right where we happen to be at any given time. It occupies all space, fills every form of differentiation of itself. The law also flows through us because it flows through everything. And since it exists, it must be in and through us. This is the crux of the whole matter. Infinite and immutable of the law is ever present and available as it must be. The potential possibility of all human probability, it must flow through us in order to manifest for us. It has been proved that by thinking correctly and by conscious mental use of law of mind, we can cause it to do definite things for us, through us. By conscious thinking, we give conscious direction to it, and it consciously or unconsciously responds to our advance along the line of our conscious or subjective and direction. It must be and will respond to everything because it is law, and law is no respect of persons. We are surrounded by the intelligent force and substance from which all things come, the ultimate essence in the invisible and subjective world of all visible and objective form of condition. It is around us in the original state, ready and willing to take form through the impulse of the creative beliefs. It works for us by flowing through us. The law we do not create. This law we cannot change. It can use it correctly only as we understand and use it according to the nature. I'm going to stop there, but it has more reading if you're interested in reading it. So the law is impartial, and we cannot change it, and it just works. So I would like to take this into a prayer. So if you feel comfortable, I invite you to close your eyes and join me in this prayer. So I take this, recognizing this law, that it is present everywhere, everything in all things, every corner of the universe. And this law, we call it God. God energy, God presence is in and through all things. It is present right here, right now. It is the beauty and love and peace and harmony of this universe itself. And each and every being is an individual expression of it, this moment. So I am so grateful to step into recognizing that law, knowing that law is present for everyone. It is right here, right now, and I bless this day. I bless this moment, and I bless this celebration service. I bless each and every one that showed up today, and I bless all the hands who came together to serve our spiritual home. So knowing it is so, I release my words, hand it over to the law of mind. Knowing it is so, it is done. Please join me by saying, and so it is. Now it is my great pleasure to introduce our interminister, Rito. Please put your hands together and welcome.
Thank you so much, Malika. Thank you, everyone. Good morning. Good morning, CSL Cape Coral. So good to see everyone, and what a glorious morning it is. Thank you for that reading and prayer, Malika. Don't you get excited when Malika is sharing that truth of our being, that this infinite presence is at the center of our being and is our very life? Don't you get excited? Who gets excited about that? I get excited to think about that. I mean, sometimes we just say it very matter-of-factly, but the presence of the divine itself is within me and within you and within every person. This infinite power and creativity and intelligence and wisdom and love. Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you so much to the Big Love Band. I loved all those songs, and I loved Cassie's story about the pay it forward. And I love that song, My Religion is Kindness. Whose religion is kindness? Yes. One of the things that I, maybe as I've gotten older, one of the things that I've really come to appreciate is kindness in people. I think kindness is highly underrated. You know, it's like all these other qualities that we can admire in a person, but boy, kindness, it's hard to beat kindness, you know, just someone who treats people well. You know, it's not so hard to do, right? To just treat people well. But of course, first we have to start by treating ourselves well. So let's treat ourselves really well. Let's really love ourselves moment by moment. So what I'm excited about this morning is that 1 week from today, I'm going to be right there with you in that sanctuary, you know, and it seems like, thank you. It seems like it's taken a long time for it to come, but finally next week I'm going to be there. And I want to say, like, this is a warm-up, but there's no warm-up in life. You know, this is life right now today. So we're going to have this wonderful service today and then just build on it next week. I think I'm going to be levitating. I'm not going to promise, but I might levitate next week when I'm there, you know, so somehow being in your presence and being before you, I might be a few inches off the ground when I'm speaking next week. So if I am, I just have one request. If I am levitating, if you see me a few inches off the ground and I'm levitating, let me know, because I want to know when I'm levitating. So today, we're talking about this beautiful topic. The topic is GPS, guidance positioning system. And of course, normally that would be global positioning system. But we're doing a play on that because we're talking about our inner guidance. We're talking about divine intuition, that amazing truth, that infinite intelligence, infinite wisdom, infinite love resides at the center of each one of us. When I was in ministerial school, there was a minister, and I just loved it. She said, because so many ministerial students, when you would ask them, so what do you want to do when you graduate from ministerial school? And so many ministerial students would say, well, I don't know. And, I think this minister thought that essentially sometimes we mistake that for surrender. It's like, oh, I don't know. Looks like I'm in surrender. But this minister said, it's okay to know. It's okay to be clear. It's okay to have a vision for your ministry and a vision for what you want to do. And I would agree with that. It's okay to be clear. I want to talk to you today about divine intuition. I want to talk about this infinite intelligence and wisdom at our center. And let's talk about how we recognize that and how we be with that and how we have that be one of the greatest gifts that we could ever have. How we can move out of confusion and ignorance and identification with confusion and ignorance. And I don't mean that in any harsh way or judgmental way. I just mean that sometimes unknowingly, unconsciously, sometimes we identify more with being confused and being ignorant, like ignorant meaning I don't know, right? Sometimes we get so identified with that. We get so identified with I don't know, that we forget that there's an infinite intelligence and wisdom right there at the center of our being. I want to share a few quotes with you about intuition as we get going here. In the Bible, James chapter 1, verse 5, it says, if any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask God, who gives generously to all without reproach, and it will be given. And then from the Magic Path of Intuition from Florence Scovel Shinn, she says, intuition comes from your superconscious mind. It is God within. And then from Bhagavan Sri Ramanan Maharshi, God illumines the mind and shines within it. One cannot know God by means of the mind. One can but turn the mind inwards and merge in God. And then from our own founder, Ernest Holmes, in the Science of Mind textbook, intuition is God in man revealing to him the realities of being. And just as instinct guides the animal, so would intuition guide man if he would allow it to do so. Some thoughts on intuition. This infinite wisdom and intelligence at our center that is there to guide us all the time. In fact, is guiding us all the time. But are we tapping in? Are we listening? It's a beautiful faculty that we have, this intuition. The mystics of the ages, across the thousands of years, across the millennia, and across various spiritual traditions and religions, have often caught the same universal spiritual truths simply by tapping into their own divine intuition. Thousands of years ago, the mystics, the ones who wrote the scriptures and the philosophers and the poets who were catching that vision, that mystic truth of who we really are. Are they different than you? That would be the question. Are those mystics different from you? What is a mystic? A mystic is one who can perceive truth directly. I would say that is every one of us. By that definition, every one of us is a mystic, but have we claimed our mystic nature? Ernest Holmes, in our Declaration of Principles, said, anyone may become a revealer of truth who lives in close contact with the indwelling God. The key part of that phrase is who lives in close contact with that indwelling God. Do we live in close contact with the indwelling God? Do we recognize moment by moment as we move through our day that God is my center, that I am a divine expression of that one? if we recognize that, we can't really live in ignorance and confusion. We live in this awareness that at any moment I can get still, listen in, and have my guidance, have my truth. It's a beautiful faculty to be able to do that. Before I get into a little bit more of intuition, I want to talk about the psychic phenomenon, right, of being psychic, which is another faculty we have that in the 1926 version of Ernest Holmes' textbook, the original version, he says that the things like that are valuable and they have their place. So he doesn't knock those things, but I want to put a little bit of understanding around that as it contrasts with our intuition, our divine intuition. So the psychic realm is really looking at the subjective. It's really looking at the tendency of where things are going to move based on our collective and our individual and collective thought patterns, belief systems, vibration. It's like, this is the way it's going. But the thing to remember about the psychic realm is that the subjective is always changing. That's the caveat. It's not to discount it at all. It's just the caveat. It's just the awareness that the subjective is always changing. To give an example of that, you and I are always changing, right? If we start doing some, like we might be in fear in a moment, we might be in doubt in a moment, we might have a belief in lack and limitation in a moment, but in the next moment, we might decide powerfully, especially being in a Science of Mind community, we might decide, I don't live that anymore. That's not my truth anymore. We might just start to affirm something much greater. We might start to step into a whole different vibration. So if a psychic would have read our field a few moments before, they would have given a prediction of where we're going that would have said, this person is going to really experience a lot of lack. But if they read our field in the next moment, when we began to step into a larger sense of who we are, they would catch a whole different picture. So the psychic realm has its value, but we need to recognize that subjective is always changing, both at the individual level as well as at the collective level. Now, I have had some really interesting experiences in the psychic realm, both personally, kind of getting a sense of where things are going. And so I find it valuable, as well as right before 2020, at the end of 2019, I had a friend in Boulder who started telling me they were in touch with a lot of people who are, consider themselves psychic. A lot of people who are tapped in psychically, tapped in to that subjective realm. And this friend began to tell me at the end of 2019 that all of their friends who are tapped in to that subjective realm are saying the same thing. They're all saying something really big is going to happen in 2020, and it's going to alter the way we live. It's going to be really big. It's going to be really significant. And I took it a little bit with a grain of salt because, of course, you hear oftentimes people making all kinds of predictions. But when 2020 hit and we stepped into the pandemic, and it really was a major change, a major thing. It wasn't just like, hey, every year has its ups and downs and its twists and turns. We all know that 2020, it was a very significant experience for all of us that we're still to some degree experiencing now, this pandemic. So it was very interesting to me to listen to my friend talk about all their friends who are tapped into the psychic realm having the same vision that something really big, and it was stressed on really big. No, not just something, significant, but something really big that's going to alter our way of life is going to happen in 2020. And then the pandemic, came right in the first February, March or so of 2020. So the psychic realm is real. That subjective realm is real. And we can tap into that. Joseph in the Bible was an interpreter of dreams. And his interpretation of dreams, which is also reading the subjective, allowed him to perceive and to sense and to know that there was going to be a famine in the land, and allowed him to help the Pharaoh of Egypt plan for this famine that was coming, so that when the famine did come, Egypt was flourishing while many other nations were suffering. This psychic realm is very real. It's something we can really tap into. Just remember that subjective is always changing. So as we tap into that, for example, if we tap into something for ourselves, right, that this is the direction things are going, well, we can change the subjective. It's like, if I keep doing what I'm doing right now, if I keep staying in the consciousness I'm in now, in the belief system I'm in now, in the vibration I'm in now, this is where it's going to go. And we can make a shift. We can change what's in our subjective realm. We can change all of that and create something new. So we're not stuck with, if someone else gives us a psychic reading, it's like, this is where you're going. We can change that. We can say, oh, thank you for that feedback, that is where I am currently living. That is what I am currently putting into the subjective realm, so that now I can begin to put something different in there. So let's talk about divine intuition for a moment, because divine intuition, there's really two aspects, as I see it, of divine intuition. One is where we can directly perceive spiritual truth. And that's powerful, right? Because sometimes we think that it's a teacher out there, or a book out there, or a scripture out there. And all of those came from that same divine intuitive realm, that same infinite wisdom, intelligence that is within you and is within me and within each one of us. So it's not to say that there's anything wrong with that. Sometimes we listen to a talk, or we read a book, or we get some information from out there that has resonance, and that resonance that we feel is also our tapping into our divine intuition, right? If someone says something and has no resonance, we go, I'm not so sure about this person, whether they're really speaking truth or not. But at other times, there's this resonance where we go, that's the truth, right? And so that's our own divine intuition. So there's nothing wrong with that, but also to realize that the ultimate for us, and where we're really going, is to be what Ernest Holmes said, to be a revealer of truth ourselves, to be a person who lives in close contact with the indwelling God, so that we are directly perceiving truth, that we can go within and say, what is this truth here? What is the higher truth here? What is the spiritual truth here? Or we can read something in the Science of Mind textbook, or in the Bible, or somewhere else, right? And at first it doesn't make sense, and we can get still and we can say, let me feel into this. What is this saying? What does this mean? And then the meaning can come through us. We are revealers of truth, because we live in close contact with that infinite wisdom, intelligence, love at the center of our being. The other aspect that's beautiful of this divine intuitive faculty is that it can guide us on our path. It can help us make our own decisions. And the visioning, we're going to do visioning for your new minister after service. That is very much a use of divine intuition, where we are asking our higher wisdom self, our higher nature, divine wisdom and intelligence within us. We are asking, what is God's highest vision for our new minister, right? So we are tapping in to that realm of the divine intuition for our guidance. You can do that for your personal life. You can do that for any guidance that you need of direction in your life. There are several cases for me where they were really big decisions for me to make, and I really loved that I could tap into this divine intuitive faculty. One was when I had become a practitioner. I was a practitioner for about a year, and of course had done all of this deep spiritual work, deep spiritual practice with myself. And I began to ask, in the stillness of my being, in meditation, I began to ask, how am I to serve with all of this spiritual growth that I've done? And every time I would sit down to ask that, the word minister would come forward. And I'll cut to the chase, because I've told the story many times about how I at first resisted that. But the reality is that I was being guided around being a minister, which my mind, my intellect, my human sense of things would not have come up with. That's why I resisted it, because I was like, what? Minister? What are you talking about? What is this? But look, fast forward 20 years, more than 20 years since I first had that vision. And I've been a minister for 17 years now, and I'm still doing it. And I see myself doing it for my life. So here's something that I received guidance by turning within and listening within, that in the human realm, I wasn't even seeing or thinking about. It didn't even make sense to me. And yet 20 plus years later, it is my life, and I foresee it being my life for until I leave this plane. Isn't that amazing? That something that I couldn't even perceive, didn't even make sense to me at first in the intellect and in the human sense of things, that in tapping into the divine, I got to see the pathway for my life and what I'm here to do and what I'm here to be and how I'm here to serve. Powerful, powerful to get still and listen. Another one was when I was serving as a senior minister in Davis, California, and I got an invitation to serve and work at our home office for Centers for Spiritual Living. And it was humanly almost an impossible decision to make, because my spiritual community, we were doing well. Seemed like we were just about to break through to a whole new level of how we were serving. And so there it was like, oh, well, I need to be here. And then there was this opportunity to work at the home office where I was going to serve the movement globally. And it was like, oh, well, I need to be there. And I couldn't obviously be in both places. So humanly, that was nearly an impossible decision for me to make. I could do all the T-charts that I wanted, pluses on one side, minuses on the other side, and list them all out. And it would not have gotten me the answer. But what got me the answer is I began to surrender it over. I began to say, you know what? I am okay doing either of these things. I will be totally fine staying right here in Davis and serving this community if that is for the highest good of all concerned, and as that is the highest for the evolution of my soul. And I'd also be totally happy to go to home office and serve in that capacity if that is what's for the highest good of my soul and the highest good of all concerned. And I surrendered it over. I'm okay with either one. So it got me, the little sense of me, out of the way. And getting the little sense of me out of the way, I could hear the voice of divine intuition, and it became very clear very quickly when I got out of the way, when I got my human sense out of the way. It was like, you need to go serve at home office, which really tore me, because I was like, I don't want to leave my spiritual community. But because it was such a clear message from my divine intuition and divine guidance, infinite wisdom, intelligence within me, it was like, okay, I have my answer. And now I can go tell my community that this is what I'm doing. And even they got it. They were like, yeah, you need to go do that. As much as we're going to miss you, and as much as we hate to see you go, you need to go do that. They could hear it in me. They could feel it in me. They could see that this was where I was being called in the greatest way. Divine intuition at our center, infinite intelligence and wisdom. We never have to play small, that we're confused and we don't know anything. And how are we in our smallness going to make these big decisions? Well, we're not going to do it that way. We have the opportunity to tap into infinite wisdom, infinite intelligence, infinite love at the center of our being. So let's get to how do we do this? Let's get to a little bit of methodology here as to what are some ways that we do this? What are some practices that allow us to do this? So the first one is really key, that we need to spend regular time in the silence. And that means meditation. I'm sure I've never mentioned meditation to you before as being important. Not. I'm always mentioning meditation as being important. In fact, we have a meditation retreat that's going on this coming week here that you all can participate in. And I'm going to do a little piece in there where I not only talk about, but also take you through a little experience of what it is really to meditate, because there's so many misconceptions that we give up and we say, oh, I tried it, I can't do it. But it's not really true. And so we're going to kind of get beneath that to see that you can't, not only can you, but you have, and you will, and you are totally capable of doing it. And so the first step in being able to cultivate that close relationship with your divine nature is to spend time in stillness every day. Meditate every day, even if it's just for a minute, but make sure you do it every day. Consistency is so important. The next thing is willingness. The next thing is willingness. Affirm that I am willing to be an instrument of divine wisdom. I am willing to be an instrument of divine intelligence. Second step is willingness. Willingness, so many things start with willingness, and then sometimes you can say, I'm willing to be willing, if we have resistance. But so many things start with willingness. Am I willing? Sometimes we want to hold on to where we've been. We want to hold on to perhaps being a victim. You don't have as much responsibility that way, right? But once you start to say, I'm going to step into infinite power, wisdom, intelligence, love at the center of my being, it's pretty hard to be a victim at that point. It's pretty hard to not take responsibility for our lives once we've agreed to that that's the truth of our being and we've aligned with that. Then begin asking questions. Begin asking questions of your higher nature. You got to start at some point, right? So begin asking the questions. One of the ways that I would do it is in a journal, right? I would open my journal and I would write down a question, and then I would get still and I would listen and I would see what came forth. And begin to trust what comes forth through you. You don't have to start off by using it to make major life decisions, because maybe you're not skilled enough yet to know the difference between the various voices in your head. But start to trust it. Start to trust what comes through you. Start to trust the answers that come through you. Start to give some faith and value in what comes through you. Then next is to let go, as I said earlier, let go of your identification with confusion. Let go of your identification with ignorance, which is, oh, I don't know. It's just little old me. I don't know what I'm doing. Let go of your identification with that and begin to affirm daily, I let go of confusion and ignorance. We could do that right now. I let go of ignorance and confusion. I can't hear you all. So who said it? Who said the affirmation there? Raise your hand if you said it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Glad you're with me here. And then begin to identify yourself with infinite wisdom and love. Let's do that together. I identify myself with infinite wisdom and love. And then learn to recognize the voice of spirit. Learn to recognize the voice of spirit within your being. And let's talk for a moment about what is that voice like? What are the qualities of that voice? For one, it is infinitely kind. It is infinitely loving. It is infinitely wise and intelligent. It is gentle, not forceful. It is gentle. But it is also, while being kind and loving and infinitely wise and intelligent, it is also persistent. Like it just keeps knocking a little bit, gently knocking at the door. Keeps knocking just to remind you, maybe in your heart space, just like nudges you a little bit, right? It just keeps nudging, right? Like that thing for me where the word minister kept coming, right? Every time I would sit down, it would go, minister. And I go, no, that's not it. That's not it. Come on. Give me something real. Give me something I can work with here. And I'd sit down again to meditate and it'd be like, minister. And that was the only word that would come. It was like no sentences, phrases, nothing. It was just like, I would say, okay, so come on now, let's get real here. Let's get serious. What am I to do with all of this spiritual wisdom and knowledge and insight that I'm gaining here? Minister. So we learn the qualities of that voice of spirit, that still small voice, as it's been called. It's not a loud voice. It's not a pushy voice. It's not an unkind voice. That's the voice of the inner critic. It's not a voice that guilts you and shames you and says, who are you? Why aren't you doing this? And why aren't you doing? No. That's not the voice of our divine intuition, of our divine guidance, of that still small voice. That still small voice, you'll recognize it because it's infinitely kind and infinitely loving, infinitely wise and intelligent, and very gentle and quiet and still. and yet persistent at the same time. That's how we can recognize that voice, as opposed to the other voices, our inner critic, our inner child, our parents' voice, the voice of authorities, all of these other voices. Let us get to know the voice of Spirit within us so we can trust that in a greater way than we trust anything else. We can get still in a moment and have our answer. And a lot of it also is at a feeling level. It's not necessarily at an intellectual level. In fact, it usually is not. It's at a feeling level. We feel, right? We feel. It's like the mind of, some have called it the mind of the heart, right? So it's infinite intelligence. So we don't want to think of the heart as like all mushy and all that, right? It's the mind of the heart. It's the infinite intelligence of intuition, of divine guidance that we sense and know and feel in our heart space. So we begin to feel into our answers as opposed to think into our answers. Divine intuition is not about thinking. We can think about it afterward, right? Like I'm putting it into words right now as I give this talk, and that might have the mind engaged in how do I want to organize talking about it. But the actual divine wisdom and guidance is the language of the heart. It's a language of symbolism. It is a language of feeling. It is the language of sensing something. So we feel into it and we begin to know. Ernest Holmes defined intuition in the back of the textbook in one way as saying the ability to know without knowing how you know, right? This is our divine intuitive knowing, is the ability to know without knowing how you know, without a faculty of reasoning. You're not reasoning, you're not thinking it out. You tap in, you get still, you listen in, and that truth comes through you. That truth comes through you. There might be some words that come through, like the word minister that came through, but it's not a thinking process. It's a feeling, sensing, knowing process. There is no thinking or rationalizing or deducing anything. There's just a knowing without knowing how we know. You say, how do you know? I just know. I just know. We probably have all had those experiences where we just know. We just know. So today's invitation is to really trust yourself, to really be the one who lives in close contact with the indwelling God and become that revealer of truth yourself. That is your destiny. That is what you are here to be and do, to shine that light, to live in close contact with the indwelling God. Let us do this affirmation a couple more times here, similar or maybe the same as what we've done already. I hear the wisdom of Spirit. Please repeat after me. I hear the wisdom of Spirit. I trust the wisdom of Spirit. And I follow the wisdom of Spirit. Thank you so much. Let us turn within for prayer. And so we turn within this morning to be in close contact with the indwelling God. We turn within this morning to recognize the presence of the divine, that infinite love, intelligence, wisdom at the center of our being. We recognize the oneness of all life, that really there is only one life, one power, one presence, one infinite intelligence, and that it is expressing at every point of existence. So it is expressing at the point of existence that is me, and that is each one of us. So each one of us are a center of infinite divine consciousness. Each one of us is a divine expression of that one whole, perfect, complete life that is God, that is divine, that is good, that is whole, perfect, complete. And so in this awareness, I speak this word, my word this morning, and I declare and know for each one who is saying yes to living in close contact with the indwelling God, for each one who is saying yes to becoming a revealer of truth, to each one who is saying yes to trusting their divine intuition, that this is a word of power unto the law, that is a dissolving of anything that would seem to hinder this truth. Any sense of identifying with ignorance, identifying with confusion, identifying with smallness. This word is a word of dissolving of that, and it is a word of anchoring in and calling forth the greater truth of our being, that we are infinitely wise, infinitely intelligent, infinitely loving. And so I bless each of us on this path of knowing, perceiving, ability to tap in to divine wisdom, whether it be to discern a spiritual truth or whether it be to discern our next steps, our own guidance for our life. I bless each one on that journey, knowing that we are infinitely capable, we are infinitely wise and intelligent because of Spirit right there at our center, living our very life and being. I am so grateful for this truth, so grateful for this awareness, so grateful for the good that is right now coming forth. I let it be. I release this word to that immutable law that only knows to say yes, and therefore I know it is done just as I have declared, touching and agreeing with each person here and each person listening. I know that all is well. We anchor it together with the words, and so it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So we've reached our offertory time here, our time of conscious giving, our time of knowing that greater truth of our abundance and that we always have something to give. And so we give from the overflow, we give from love, we give from our desire to give back because we are served so well. We are served so well by the spiritual community that we want to give back. We want to participate in this great law of circulation. So it's our opportunity to show gratitude here, and you can do it in many different ways. You can text your donation to 239-320-3820, or you can send it through PayPal at cslcapecoral.org, or you can just go directly to the website, cslcapecoral.org, and click the donate button there, and you can even set it up weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly, so you don't even have to think about it. And then you can be giving to the community when if you're on vacation or whatever, you know that you're still supporting your spiritual community, which what greater joy is that than to support the spiritual community that supports us and to uplift it and have our spiritual community be prosperous and thriving and be able to serve the world in the great ways that it is destined to do. You can also mail a check to CSL Cape Coral at 406 Southeast 24th Avenue, Cape Coral, Florida 33990. Thank you so much for the many ways that you give. And I offer the opportunity for you to hold your gift between your hands if you've written a check or you have cash or however you're doing that. And let's do our tithing affirmation together. Today, I know the activity of divine abundance is at work in my life and the life of this center. I give and receive generously as I live in the flow of bountiful good. And so it is. And I bless each gift, knowing that each gift goes forth to bless this spiritual community, goes forth to bless those that the spiritual community gives to as well, goes forth to bless the greater community as our spiritual teaching and our spiritual practice ripples out into the world. I bless these gifts knowing that not only do they do all those great works out there, that they also come back to us and return to us in such greater ways than even we gave, so that it's heaped up, pressed down and running over. We cannot outgive God. What a beautiful truth. I bless these offerings. I give thanks so much for these offerings and for all of you who so generously give to keep this spiritual community not only going, but thriving and stepping into its next level of greatness. Thank you so much. Peace and blessings.
Reverend Gregory, some more love. Am I on? Yes. All right. And stick around after service as Reverend Gregory facilitates our second in a series of visioning for our new minister. So grab a coffee and snack and meet us back in the sanctuary. So I am your living invitation. These announcements are to inform you of all the great goings on that we have going on here at the center. So currently and constantly, we have a prosperity conscious book study going on right now. We are talking about, can we talk to God? And the conversation is awesome. It is on Tuesdays from 3:30 to 5, facilitated by myself and Malika Davey. And it is a $30 per month suggested love donation. Visit our calendar at cslcapecoral.org or check your email to register. You want to be on our email list because then you can find out all the exciting goings on here. Just like our meditation retreat, which Reverend Gregory so lovingly plugged for next weekend. Next Saturday, right here in the sanctuary, we're going to be gathered in a circle, just having lots of fun going within and exploring our spiritual nature, just having a wonderful time together in spiritual meditation practices. I got a bunch of great stuff planned for you. So you can find out more information on the website or check your email. Have you ever wanted to learn more about energy healing? Well, we have a lovely, amazing practitioner of, I found out it is Yusai. It's actually a name and not the acronym or the words or whatever. So it is the Holy Fire 3 Reiki Master Teacher, as she facilitates the instruction of Reiki 1 and Reiki 2. Yusai is a master that this teaching has come through, and Patty Carney would like to share that with us on October 16th and 23rd at 9 to 5, and that is going to be a Zoom meeting. So you can find it on our calendar at cslcapecoral.org, or once again, check your email. We have an amazing Zoom meditation group going on Wednesday evenings with our lovely and amazing Karen Gidley, who is doing that on Zoom from 6:30 to 7:30. And she does a spiritual reading, meditation, and discussion for a $5 suggested love donation. And you can visit the calendar and your email. And September 19th, 10 to 5 p.m., the Peace Day is happening again. I don't know if any of you have ever attended that. It's an awesome and amazing thing. It's at the Wakihatchee. And I've heard that's a really beautiful place. I don't know if I've been out there or not. Is that the one that's Bass Road? Oh, okay, yeah. So volunteer opportunities are available, so please see our lovely and amazing Melissa Tuff. And it's always fun going out and volunteering for these things. A great day is had by all. Melissa also guides us in a midweek tune-up on Wednesdays at noon, outside weather permitting, or right here in our beautiful, lovely circle that we have created out in the lobby. Okay. Oops, where's my clicker? And next Sunday, after our celebration, we are doing a celebration of life of our beloved Joan Walgren. So please do join us after service, after the potluck, right? Oh, before potluck. Yeah, so we're encouraging you to stay around. Our potlucks are amazing. Please join us. And don't let not having a dish stop you, because we always have plenty and more than enough to go around. And we just plugged that already. Coffee service is back. So please join us for coffee and pastries. Your donations are appreciated. And as always, our ongoing food drive in the box out there. You can bring stuff anytime you come to the sanctuary, the center. And Melissa is here on Tuesdays and Thursdays and probably every other day of the week lately, and certainly Sunday mornings, and for that Wednesday midweek tune-up. And before we do this last slide, I want to invite up. Is there a slide for this? Oh, okay, that's why. I'm looking for the slide to invite you up here. So Mimi has something to share with us, so it's all. You can take this one.
Hi, everyone. I'm here to talk about our wonderful art gallery. This month, Brian Derby is our artist, and he's done some beautiful work, and we're having a silent auction. The two pieces that are the seascapes are already sold. So the other ones, it's a silent auction, and Brian is getting 50%, and he's generously donating us the second 50%. And so our following gallery is going to be from you guys. As you remember, if you guys can remember, a while back we had a bring your art that's stuck under the bed that you used to love, that's not hanging anymore, or it's behind a bureau, or it's on the wall and it doesn't do anything for you anymore. Maybe it's going to do something for somebody else. And 100% of those of that auction is going to be an auction. It goes to it's going to be going to doors. We're going to be getting new doors. Okay, so details for the art gallery will be given next week. Okay, so start bringing your gallery donations in, and we're going to hang that. And if anybody is interested in hanging their art, come see me or come see Kay, and we will be more than happy to figure out how to display your art. Oh, and this auction ends next week on the end of the month, and then we'll in September, we'll be starting the other auction. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mimi. I don't know if some of you weren't here for that last one, but that last auction was so much fun. And then we did. Oh, good. And it was really fun. And then we do something with some of the stuff afterwards? With we had a little art project with some of it, didn't we? Oh, okay. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be actual art on the wall. It can also be little statues or bric-a-brac or anything that you would like to donate. Okay? Thank you.
Sounds almost like a art swap. Yay. So, miracle moments, 1 minute miracles are here, and they are miraculous moments with practitioners who will be up here in front, so we're easily recognizable. Most of us have these stoles on, and we would love to help you anchor your intentions and anything that is heavy on your heart. We would like to help lift it for you. So please come up. And now I ask you to please, everyone, stand for Standing in the Light. This is where we take any situations or circumstances and we put them in a positive, bright light, holding the truth, the potentialities, and the possibilities of greatness and awesomeness. As we know here, what we focus on, we bring into reality. So here is where we put them in the light. So I am standing in the light for this amazing Center for Spiritual Living, Cape Coral, for the welcoming of our new minister and for this visioning time together today. Standing in the light for Cowley. Standing in the light for Jayril Muhammad. Standing in the light for Faith.
I'm standing in the light for my wife Gail, who's not feeling very well, and over Faith is a view screen.
Standing in the light for Gail. Standing in the light for friends and family. Standing in the light for the souls of Afghanistan. Standing in the light for Al. Standing in the light for John and his family as they celebrate the life of his brother. standing in the light for Joni and her sister that just transitioned. Standing in the light for all of our beautiful children going back to school. And I'm standing in the light for all the unspoken prayers. And I invite you to take this opportunity right here, right now, to place your name into this field of love and light. Linda. So how good it is to come together in the knowingness that there is one life, one source, one supply, one maintaining, sustaining energy that is everywhere present in its fullness right here, right now, throughout every nanosecond of every day. This love intelligence broadcasting itself, the intuition, the beauty, the joy, the love, the intelligence, the creativity, the balance, the order, all of it is here now and available. And I invite you to say yes to all that and so much more with me here on this day as we move forward beyond this place, taking this consciousness of love, light, energy, and all that has transpired here today and letting it ripple out into the world as we assist the world in truly being a better place every day. And I invite you to anchor this with me by saying, and so it is. Amen.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. Have a good week.